Hello and welcome. Today I thought I'd start a new series on the channel, which is something I'm calling Stillness Sundays. The idea is simply that we take a few minutes to come back to center, stop and reset before the week, and reflect on a few ideas that might help us to cultivate more joy as we go about our daily lives. So this week, I thought I'd talk about the monkey and the rice, and I'll explain what that is in a second. But before we dive into that, I want to take a few moments to step back and reset. So start to bring your attention into your breath. You can take a big inhale, loud sigh, or you can just allow your breath to lengthen. But breathe fully and deeply. Maybe if you have ujjayi in your practice, you allow a slight constriction in your throat so your breath becomes more audible. Just allow yourself to breathe for a minute. As you breathe, remember to smile. Bring your awareness back to center. Take a few more seconds here. And when you are ready, come back. As we go through the rest of this video, I want you to try a new practice with your breath. I want you to retain maybe 10% or 20% of the awareness that you just had on the breath, even as we go forward. So we have an active mind. We're thinking, we're engaging, we're listening. But we just have that subtle presence with the breath. It's a sense of ease, a balance that allows you to rest a little more fully into the words as I'm saying them to you. So, as I said, today I thought I'd talk about the story of the monkey and the rice. This is a parable about letting go. So the story goes that back, I think it was in ancient China, hunters used to set traps for monkeys where they would hollow out a coconut and cut a slit in it so that a monkey could reach in, and then they would put a few grains of rice inside. So the idea is the monkey would come, it would stick its hand in, try to grab the rice, and then when it went to take its hand back out, it would be trapped. So it was in just enough space to slip the hand in, but then when it was clenched in a fist holding onto the rice, it couldn't pull out the rice. Now at any point, the monkey has the ability to leave, but it doesn't. It stays trapped, clenching onto the rice, even though it could just let go and walk away. And the question then becomes, what is the rice that you're trying to hold on to in your life? What is the thing that, if you could let it go, would allow everything else to flow more easily for you? So when we think about the story, the solution is really obvious because the monkey can just let go and walk away. But the monkey doesn't know that. It doesn't realize that it is only trapped because it keeps clenching the rice. And that's the same problem that we all face. We don't ever really know what things we're holding on to that we should let go of. We often can't see it in ourselves. And the more we try to build an attachment to something, the more it becomes part of our identity. We often just can't even imagine letting go of it. We don't even know what that would mean. When we've wanted something or when we've had something for so long, we start to fear that we would lose part of ourselves if we were to no longer hold on to it. And this could be a job, it could be a goal, it could be a person or a relationship, it could be a home, anything. So what do we do? How do we know? How do we know when we should hold on, when we should push through, and when we should let go? And for me, I think that the answer comes down to the difference between challenge and force. I think that something can be challenging without being forced. Something can be uncertain but not be blocked. And I think we have to learn to notice what this feeling of resistance, this feeling of clenching or closing off or latching onto feels like. It's a feeling of pushing against something rather than flowing with it. And when we can recognize that feeling within ourselves, that's when we have to really question whether or not we're holding on to something we don't need to, whether or not we should just be letting go. To be clear, I'm not at all saying that we should turn away from the challenges that we face in our lives. I'm saying that when we have that feeling of contraction, of clenching, in order to try to force an outcome, that's when we need to question if we are trying to hold on to something that is no longer serving us. and we need to remember what our true intention is. Often, for me, I find it comes down to letting go of a belief that a specific outcome is the right outcome, that it's the only outcome. So, for example, let's say that I have a goal and I can see a path to achieving that goal. But then as I go forward, things don't go according to plan. When do they ever? So maybe they don't happen on schedule, or maybe things veer off course entirely. It doesn't really matter. The problem is not what has happened. The problem is when I think that a specific form or specific path that I believe should happen is the only path or the only form that that action or that goal can take. And the stronger my belief, the more resistance I create for myself. I narrow my vision and I actually start to block myself off from other options or other opportunities that could get me to my goal. Maybe even get me to my goal faster or to a better version of that goal. But instead, everything starts to contract and it gets harder. And we do this all of the time. So let me give you a simple example. Because right now, my wife and I are training for a marathon together, and we have a training plan for that. But I hurt my foot recently, just a little bit, so it's not really a big deal. But I have to rest. So now I'm off plan. And I have to let go of my vision for where I thought I would be at this point with my running. But that's hard because I've been working towards this goal. And it's tough to watch my wife go enjoy a long run on a beautiful day. But if I don't let go, if I try to force myself to run according to the original plan, I'll probably just worsen my injury. I'll hurt my foot even more. And if I don't let go psychologically, even if I rest and don't actually run, then I'll just keep mulling it over and I'll ruin my day or even my week because I'll be grumbling about the fact that I took the time off. So I have to let go. It's the only option. Now, obviously, this is a pretty simple example because there is a very clear physical limit that I'm facing right now. But the question is the same regardless of what area of life we apply this to. We can ask, what am I trying to force? What am I holding on to that I need to unclench? How can I allow myself to become free? I think if you can just start asking those questions about whatever challenges that is that you might be facing right now, then you start the process of letting it go. You don't need to abandon everything and pivot on a dime. You don't need to unclench all at once. Just ask the question. So remember what I said a few minutes ago about your breath. So bring your attention back to that now. Not fully, but just a little bit. Just enough to feel centered. So then you can ask, what am I holding on to that is no longer serving me? What is the rice that's keeping me trapped? And maybe there's something specific that jumps out at you. Maybe not. But just sit with this question. Let it mull around in the back of your mind for the next couple of days. Notice when you are clenching, resisting, and notice if you can simply decide that now is the time to let go. So thank you for taking this time with me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, this is a new series I thought I'd try out this month, so please, if you like it, leave a comment so I know to do more like this. And all I ask in return is for you to take 2 seconds to share this with someone who you care about. I really believe that we all have the ability to be joyful every single day, and we just have to remember to come back to that. So please pass this on. Wherever you are, know that I love you, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.